So when I moved here to the States, I didn't know what I wanted to study in college. Nag 1 year ako ng college sa Ateneo in the Philippines.
It's okay, nobody's perfect.
And then,
Nasa lista ako eh.
ay, nasa lista ka pala. Alis na ako. De joke.
Okay.
No hard feelings. Pero I'm from the Ateneo kasi. You know? I think I have a bubble, right? My bubble right now is the Filipino music bubble of LA. Mm-hmm. I feel like I need to branch out.
When did you have this feeling? Ito na ito.
I think parang
Ako na yung therapy mo ngayon. Therapist mo ngayon. Okay, go.
I think I know deep inside my capabilities
Pero
and how far I can go. But I feel like not a lot of other people see it. So I feel like I have to make opportunities for myself now. Kasi other people don't give me those opportunities.
Welcome to the Paco's Place podcast.
And the podcast will begin in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, finally, a good friend of mine. Mas spicy ang kwentuhan namin dito, hindi ko alam. Miss Sarah Nolan. All right.
Thank you for having me.
First question ko is not kamusta ka na? So that's not my first question. First question is, what is a music therapist?
Ooh. It's really hard to explain.
We have all night.
Yeah, we have all night. It's really hard to explain. I guess the easiest way is to try to explain it in a way na hindi yung textbook definition, kumbaga.
Okay.
But basically, we have goals and objectives that we try to meet and achieve. And we try to meet and achieve those goals through music. So a goal doesn't have to be music related. So it's not about teaching somebody how to play an instrument or how to be a better musician. But the goal can be increasing communication skills. It can be increasing social skills, even yung fine at saka gross motor skills natin. So if there's a patient that's undergoing rehab for stroke or anything, they're trying to learn how to walk again or talk again or hold a fork, diba, to be able to eat. So pwede nating achieve yung goals na yun, pero ang gagamitin natin music. So it could be holding a mallet. Mm-hmm. Let's say, for example, this person likes to play drums, diba? Or used to be a drummer or something. So that's something that's motivating for them. So we can use something like music or an instrument to help them. But at the end of the day, yung goal na tinatry natin i-achieve is actually not music related.
Hindi motor skills.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Bakit ito ang naisipan mong gawin?
I guess I've always wanted to do something kind of science related growing up. My parents, always were like, oh, you become a doctor, diba? Typical Filipino. Become a nurse, anything that's kumbaga parang practical in terms of career. But I was always a musician. I always, sang and played instruments growing up. So I actually studied music in college. Okay. Just music.
Sa Philippines or dito?
Dito sa States.
Okay.
And then after I graduated, went into working in furniture, project managing, stuff like that.
Parang layo.
Parang layo, diba? Kasi yung emphasis ko was music business. So I didn't really do anything with it. Kumbaga, I was just like, if I find a job, I'll work in the field. Tapos after a few years, I had a lot of people come up to me and not come up to me, pero friends who were like, oh, diba you're in the medical field? I'm like, huh? Parang, saan ang galing yun, diba? Parang, where did you think that I was in the medical field? So that's when I started kind of looking into. I remember hearing about music therapy a long
Tapos
time
na,
ago.
graduate ka na nito.
Graduate na ako, yeah.
Oh my God. And then?
Parang sabi ko, I remember hearing about music therapy before kasi I was interested in it before. But I never pursued it, thus I kind of forgot about it. So then I did research again and I was like, oh, I can actually go back to school and just take the equivalency courses because I already have a music degree.
Yes.
So you just now have to take the clinical side of it. So you have the music side of it and then you just learn, okay, how am I going to apply this in a clinical setting? So that's when I went back to school.
How many years?
It was part-time, 2 years.
Okay. Not bad, huh? Part-time,
Not
2
bad.
years.
And yun nga, kasi nga, you have to have a music degree eh. So if you're starting out na undergraduate ka pa lang, bachelor's degree, 4 years yun.
Yes.
You're learning all of your music stuff, and then you're also learning the therapy stuff on top of that. You don't just learn the clinical application of music, you also learn counseling skills. Kasi when you're dealing with patients who are, you know, having a hard time expressing their emotions,
Right.
let's say, you know, cancer patient, especially kung bata yun, teenager, you might start writing songs with them. And then you start to explore feelings, right? So you have to learn the verbal processing of emotions and things like that. So there's a lot that goes into it.
What type of Pandora's box moment opened when you did this? Like especially with family and friends. Kasi prior to this, when you see parents or siblings or relatives, they're just who they are. Eh. Minsan din natin nilalagyan ng, sa kaya nang galing yung ugali nilang ganon. Pero when you become a therapist, especially when you're dealing with people, tapos pinag-aralan mo pa, ngayon may context na eh.
Yeah.
Did it take away the scales from your eyes na parang, kaya ganito tong taong to dahil ganito? Nangyari ba yun?
I mean, I don't think it's that I will look at somebody and kind of, I don't want to say judge, pero yung parang isa psychology mo sila, di ba? But yeah, I mean, I do have a better understanding of why people are the way they are. And it's easier for me to kind of understand where people are coming from. So, you know, parang it's almost like I can kind of
Jedi, sabihin mo na.
not judge them as much, you know.
Pwede mo nang i-Jedi.
Parang, okay, ganito. Hindi naman. Pero, yeah, that's what I have to do diba? So, it's not that I have to judge them, pero I do have to keep an open mind and really listen to, ano kayang pinagdaanan nitong batang to? Or ano kayang pinagdaanan nitong taong to? That's leading them to be the way that they are now. And we can't judge them for that, but it's more of, hey, I'm a safe space for you. So, pero that's the power of music So,
Yes.
hindi mo alam, 'di ba? Parang nagsusulat ng kanta yung bata, 5 years old 'di ba? Biglang yung pinag-uusapan is I miss my dad, ganun.
Habang nagsusulat.
Hindi, kunyari kakanta lang siya, I miss my daddy, ganyan. Oh, where's your dad? Wala pala sa buhay niya yung tatay. Yung mga ganun,
yeah.
'di ba? So, pero hindi mo naman kasi siya pwedeng iupo na you
Yes.
can't sit a 5-year-old down and be like, so, what are your childhood traumas, 'di ba? Or what are you going through right now? Pero if you approach them in a way na, let's write a song together. Music is fun. It's we get to play instruments. Pero through that, lumalabas yung talagang feelings ng tao deep inside. So yung mga unconscious feelings mo or yung mga subconscious
Right.
feelings mo, lumalabas yun through the music. So it's really cool. It's really cool to see.
That being said, ang dali kumilatis ngayon ng songwriter on your part, di ba? Pag
Yeah.
nakita ka ng songwriter, basahin mo lang yung lyrics nun parang, ano kaya pinagdadaanan nito?
Yeah, tsaka it's easier to relate to them. Kasi you can see pag nagsusulat ng kanta yung mga tao, like the really good songwriters,
Yeah.
they can take, I mean, obviously that's a whole other skill. It's just they do it because they're musicians. Pero the way that they write, you can really see na, oh wow, talagang their imagination runs wild. But they only need one little concept.
Anong challenges mo rito? Like, do you deal with just kids, teenagers, or even adults?
So actually the funny thing is, I have this thing that I always tell my coworkers. So I actually work with babies. I work with infants, newborns.
What?
I work in the NICU, so the neonatal ICU.
Yes.
That's my main unit that I work in. All of my other coworkers, they work with up to teens, so up to 20 years old, 21 years
Anong
old.
problema ng preemie?
They're underdeveloped. So, kunyari, ang trabaho ko with the preemies is, so okay, you're born too early, di ba?
Yeah.
Meaning your brain, it's not developed enough.
Yes.
So if you go out into the world too early, your brain is not able to tolerate all of the stimulation of the world.
Correct.
Everything is too bright, it's too loud. Plus, may sakit ka pa, di ba? So kung ano man yung pinagdadaanan ng katawan mo, you might be on respiratory support or whatever.
So, totoo pala yun, no?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So talagang what it is that now you're exposed to all of these things that you're not protected from, by being in the womb anymore. So when they get to a certain age, around 32 weeks, gestational age, right?
Yes.
We can say 40 weeks, diba?
Yes.
Yan ang normal gestational age. You're born after 9 months. But some kids are born after
32, 36.
32, 33. So,
33.
pag 32 na, it's already pretty safe for them to start hearing music. But it has to be very cautious kasi nga hindi na sila protected nung womb. So ang trabaho ko is I start to assess them at that age and I start to systematically introduce music in layers. So I'll start humming and then I start singing with words. So for a baby that's that little, going from humming to adding words to a song, that's a lot of, that's a lot for them already. So you can already start seeing na, oh shucks, medyo na overstimulate na yung bata, ganyan.
Right.
Pero pag na-tolerate nila yun, then I can start adding touching. So I'll sing to them while touching them sa ulo, sa arms, sa
May
legs.
association na.
So dinagdagan mo na ng layer ngayon of touching na. Pag na-tolerate nila yun lahat, now you start rocking forward. Back.
Bubuhatin mo na.
Nakabuhat na yun.
Nakabuhat na.
So i-rock mo na siya.
At 32 weeks, 33, nasa NICU pa rin sila?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
NICU yan. Tapos usually, it's gonna be very dependent on their feeding and their respiratory support, whether they can go home or not. So sometimes you'll have babies that are there, months and months and months, but they just can't go home because they're still on some kind of support.
Wow.
So I work with babies, right, mostly, but I always tell my coworkers, I love my job because my patients can't talk. Kasi mas mahirap to work with the parents sometimes. Kasi, di ba, syempre yung parents, di ba, and of course, you don't wanna, talk smack about them kasi may pinagdadaanan din sila as being the parents of the child.
Someone in the NICU,
may sakit yung anak nila di ba? Pero minsan they're harder to work with kasi sila yung mas demanding.
Kaya ako nakaka-relate. My fourth child was born 25 weeks.
Oh my gosh, talaga?
25 weeks.
Oh, I did not know that.
Kasing laki ng guinea pig. Ganyan lang siguro.
Yes.
Basta ganyan lang siya kaliit.
Super liit.
And tama, yung sinasabi mo, tama. Pero hindi siya nabigyan ng music therapy. As in, hinayaan lang siya mag-develop hanggang sa graduate ka na sa NICU, hanggang sa inuwi na.
Yeah.
Pero napansin ko, sa Target kami, pag maghuhugas ako ng kamay, yung sa blower,
Yeah.
wow!
Ganon.
Sisigaw yan.
Talaga?
Nung 1-year-old siya, 2 years old siya, 2 years old, gagawin siya. Tapos, for the longest time, di siya nagsasalita. Ano lang siya? Pina-speech therapy pa.
Okay, yeah.
At 3 years old. Hinahunting ko yung speech therapist na yun.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, hanggang hindi na tumatahimik yung bata.
Hey, give me my money back.
Parang sobrang...
You did your job too well.
Too well, oo. But you're right. Because of all my kids, now overwhelmed siya sa mga dogs. Now, and you know what? Now that you're telling me this, thank you. Because I had to back off and treat him differently with regard to the others. Kasi yung iba, pag nakakarinig ng ingay, siya pag nakakarinig ng ingay.
Na-overwhelmed.
Oo.
Yeah.
Hanggang sa, tama ka, nung nag-layers kami, ngayon may girlfriend na. Wala pa, nasa middle school pa lang may girlfriend na. Ibang klase na.
Ibang
diba?
klase.
Sensitive kasi.
Hindi, pero tama yung sinasabi mo kasi kailangan i-introduce na sa kanila yun. Pero kailangan may positive association.
Yes.
Diba? Kasi isipin mo, lalo na, I'm sure your kid was in the NICU for a while.
Oh my God.
Tagal, di ba?
Isipin mo, halos magsa 7 months to graduation.
Exactly. So, sobrang tagal niya nandun.
Yes.
Lahat ng na-experience sa hospital, pinupoke siya.
Yeah.
Di ba? And it's all negative eh.
Yes.
I'm in pain. I can't breathe on my own. I need a machine to help me breathe.
Diba?
All these different things. Tapos ang ingay, 'di ba? Yung machine,
yeah.
yung mga machine, beep beep, ganon. Tapos talagang it's repetitive pero nakakainis, 'di ba?
Yes.
So kailangan may positive association. Pero hindi lang basa-basa pwede na, magpatugtog ka ng Mozart dyan, lagay mo sa tainga ng bata. 25 weeks, hindi mo pwedeng gawin yun,
yes.
di ba? Kasi ayaw mo ngang ma-overwhelm siya. So there needs to be a very cautious way of presenting the stimulation.
Totoo, no? Kasi,
But you have to push them a little bit eh.
yeah.
Yeah.
Di katulad sa, if you're in the womb, may rhythm yan eh. Rhythm ng heartbeat.
Exactly.
Yung mga ganon-ganon.
Exactly. So a lot of times also, parents will tell me na, I've done research na Mozart daw, di ba? Classical music is really good for the brain kasi I'm not saying na hindi pwede yun. Pero a lot of times kasi, they're thinking of that, pinanganak yung baby mo ng full term. So, kung full term yun,
Okay
talagang
lang.
ready na for the world, di ba? Pero pag premature, hindi pwedeng basta-basang, oh, sige, Mozart kasi that's good for the brain. Kailangan meron pa rin talagang parameters in terms of what kind of music you're presenting. Kasi it can get overwhelming.
How do you explain this to the parents?
What I like to do with parents is I don't want to discount the research that they've done.
Yes.
I don't want to tell them that they're wrong. Because at the end of the day, they want what's best for their child. So what I try to word it in a way na, oh, you know, mom, when you were pregnant with your child, your body was doing an amazing job of protecting your baby.
Totoo naman yun.
Totoo yun, di ba? Pero I'm giving them that, you know, I'm letting them know and encouraging them na this was you. Your body was doing such a good job of protecting your child. Unfortunately, now that they're out in the world, you're no longer really able to protect them the same way. So we have to find ways to still give them the chance to develop, pero we're still protecting them. So it's a very fine balance. Like you're in a incubator, di ba? In that isolate. Hindi din pwede na dun lang sila forever. Kasi nga they're gonna hear all of these noises. They're already being touched. They're already being poked and prodded anyway. So let's try to start helping their development, their brain development. We push them, pero if they show us any signs na, whoa, that's a little too much for me, you pull back, diba? You give them a chance to self-regulate, bababa yung heart rate or whatever. Pag bumalik na sila dun sa calm na sila ulit, you pick up where you left off. And then you continue. So the goal is na after, 2, 3, 4 sessions, they're able to tolerate more and more and more and
Let's
more.
get game push forward. Yeah. Pag ganyan, how long have you been doing this?
I've been doing this for about 3.5 years.
How do you feel? May fulfillment?
I feel very fulfilled. It's a job na I get to do music and I get to nerd out. Parang this is like really cool stuff. And I like talking to musicians about it kasi I can explain it in a more tangible way na maintindihan ng musician. Kasi may theory involved di ba? Pero in a way, I know I'm helping people. It's fun. Obviously, the babies are very cute. But they're also very sick.
Yon, pag-usapan natin yon because may mortality reality doon sa part na yun eh.
Yeah.
Very fragile yung mga batang yan. Like, yung anak ko, di ba? Yung palad ko na ganyan, kalahati na ng buong katawan niya.
Yeah.
When you're there, as a woman, and as part of the healthcare faculty, does it give you anxiety? Na parang, oh my God, paano pag ako na, sana wag naman maging ganito. And then yung empathy, kasi paano pumapasok yun na when you see the parents, may uncertainty, pero yung bata may resilience, normally ganun di ba?
Yeah.
What goes through your head pag nangyayari na lahat yun?
In terms of yung first question mo about like yung in the future having kids, it doesn't affect me as much, thankfully. I think if you work in healthcare in general, you have to build some callus.
Okay.
And it's not to say that we don't care, right? Pero you do have to be able to kind of compartmentalize and suck it up. But part of my job being able to work in this field, it's not for everybody. You have to have empathy. You have to be able to really empathize with somebody. Pero hindi ka pwedeng makaiyak sa kanila.
Oo nga.
Diba?
Kasi ikaw tinatanganan nila eh.
Exactly. So you have to have that, yung talagang resilience then within yourself na, sige, I'm gonna hold space for this person. Mamaya na ako iyak pag uwi ko ng bahay. And I think for me, because I don't have kids yet, it's a little easier for me to handle. I have coworkers that do have kids. It can get a little harder for them.
Kasi ini-equate nila na parang nangyari sa anak nila o sa anak ng anak nila. Hindi mo alam, di ba?
Or, oh my gosh, what if this happens to my child?
Yeah.
And so I understand that, and I understand that if I were to have a child in the future, that it will start affecting me differently. Pero yeah, I think thankfully enough, I've been able to really compartmentalize really well. And just, you have to make sure that you have an outlet. So that's why I perform still.
Yon.
On the side, kasi that's my way of staying sane.
So speaking of performance, since you brought it up na, you're a singer. Bakit hindi yun ang pinursue mo primarily? Hey.
Bakit hindi nang pinursue ko?
Oo, kasi music nung una, di ba?
Yeah.
Parang nawinda nga ako sa statement mo kanina. Graduate ng music, tapos furniture store pa.
Yeah.
Ba't di mo pinursue yung music? I mean,
Right.
you have what it takes to do that. So, game.
So when I moved here to the States, I didn't know what I wanted to study in college. Nag 1 year ako ng college sa Ateneo in the Philippines.
It's okay, nobody's perfect.
And then,
Nasa lista ako eh.
ay, nasa lista ka pala. Alis na ako. De, joke.
Okay.
No hard feelings. Pero I'm from the Ateneo kasi. You know? So anyway, nag-Ateneo ko for 1 year. Paglipat ko dito, I was like, I don't have no idea what I want to do. Tapos sabi ko, I think I really want to do music. Diba? Kasi nasa Amerika tayo,
Yes.
LA, di ba? And I really didn't know eh. Sabi ko,
Tsaka exposed ka ron sa Pilipinas. You were doing it already.
syempre, yeah. So, sabi ko, I really don't know what to do. I kind of want to pursue music. So, my dad was the one who was like, sige, I support you, mag-music ka. Pero, kung mag-music ka, baka naman pwedeng pumili ka ng parang route na may stability.
Kaya business.
So, So, sinabi niya, why don't you can be a teacher. You can do something like music business. So actually, nagsimula ako music education.
Okay.
Sabi ko, sige, I'll be a teacher, tapos I'll sing on the side, di ba? Basta it was always in my mind, sige, I'll have a job that pays my bills, and then I'll perform, because that's what I really like to do.
Right.
And tama naman yung dad ko eh. I mean, he's always been a very practical thinker, and that's kind of where I get my practical thinking as well. So, yun, sabi niya, be practical about it, pero I support you, which was to me already a huge thing kasi for a Filipino parent to say, I support you to do music, even if it's to say na find a stable route, was already huge, di ba? Kasi at least hindi niya ako sinabihan na, hindi, kailangan maging nurse ka, maging lawyer ka.
You know, pag-usapan, daanan lang natin sandali. Gaano ka-importante for a daughter to have a father?
It's huge. It's super important. And like even growing up, a lot of the musical influences that I had came from my dad. My dad's a singer. He sings. So I literally grew up, you know, going after his footsteps. I started singing in the church. My dad used to be the worship pastor of our church. So I really followed in his footsteps. You know, he never really was like a professional singer, but he is an artist. I see him that way. So it's without him, I wouldn't be the musician I am.
Regardless of being a musician, yung admiration mo sa tatay mo, is it because he was proactively in your life, being present in your life? Ito, I'm totally digressing, but you can be a bad partner or husband, but it doesn't mean you're a bad dad. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Diba kaya nga, since I'm taking this opportunity, sinabi mo na sa music, he was your influence, but yung practicality, by osmosis, nakuha mo rin, ano pa?
He's a hard worker. When I was growing up, nagreklamo nga ako sa parents ko kasi they were very involved in ministry. So, lagi sila wala sa bahay kasi lagi nasa Bible study, ganyan.
Yes.
So, when I was growing up, sabi ko, ano ba to? Bakit wala kayo lagi sa bahay? Parang, come on.
Ikaw ba bunso?
Ako yung bunso. Pero over the years, I learned to appreciate that kasi I saw yung heart nila for other people. So, ganun din. Doon ko din nakuha yung heart ko for other people.
Yes.
So, it's not just in the music, diba? Pero it's really like, I think I really grew up wanting to make sure that what I did served the purpose for other people. And so, I saw that in not just my dad, but my mom as well.
Right.
Pero I saw
What
that
does your mom do?
she's a pastor's wife. You know,
Oh, mahirap yun, ha?
yeah. So very supportive role. Pero very involved din siya.
Yeah.
So she went wherever my dad went. She was shepherding the wives while my dad was shepherding the husbands. So I think yung feeling ko of really wanting to be there for other people, I got that from them. So that's really something I look up to them.
So okay, so nasa States ka na, nag-aaral ka na bigla ng music, pumayag na daddy mo. And then what happened?
So yun, I eventually didn't like music education. I was like, I do not want to be a teacher. But I was like, sige, music business. Pero I think it's always been that eh. Yun yung naging thought process ko ever since. Sabi ko, sige, fine, mag-music business ako. Pero yung goal ko is, magtatrabaho ako sa music label or any music company.
A&R or somewhere.
A&R, whatever, 9 to 5. And then on Saturdays, I'll gig.
Right.
Kasi nga, yun yung laging sinabi sa akin eh. Basta kailangan practical. Lagi kang may Financial stability,
Yes.
financial stability, financial stability. So even up to now, di ba, I mean, I love what I do, but I'm completely in it because it's financially stable. So, you could say, like, there's a little bit of fear there
Yeah.
of like, okay, if I completely quit this job and I pursue music, what's gonna happen to me? But at the same time, I don't know if it's something that I want to do full time.
Music?
Like to be a singer full time, because I
sige.
love what I do. Like,
Okay, there's a difference between being a singer and an artist. Ah. Ano ka dun?
I think right now I consider myself a singer.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah, I consider myself a singer. I consider myself someone who gigs, gigging singer. So I do cover band gigs, restaurant gigs, private gigs. But I don't know. I mean, an artist kasi you can define it then in so many different ways, diba? I don't think you necessarily have to be an active songwriter to be called an artist.
Correct.
I think if you're a creative
Yun.
and you
You're
do
an
music, you're an artist.
Pero ikaw, like, you have this degree, you have this backing, malalim ka, and yet you're going toe-to-toe with other people who see music as a hobby. You can go places. What's holding you back? Or is there something holding you back?
I think for me, I think I have a bubble, right? My bubble right now is the Filipino music bubble of LA. And I feel like I need to branch out.
When did you have this feeling? Ito na yung
I think parang
Ako na yung therapy mo ngayon. Therapist mo ngayon. Okay, go.
I think I know deep inside my capabilities
Pero,
and how far I can go. But I feel like not a lot of other people see it. So I feel like I have to make opportunities for myself now. Kasi other people don't give me those opportunities.
or maybe people see it outright. Di lang nila matanggap dahil may talangkaan na nag-exist.
It's possible. And it's hard because growing up I was also taught to be humble, but you also have to if you're a musician, especially if you're in LA, you have to have some sort of
Swag. Ego.
Diba?
Yeah.
Let's just call it confidence.
Yes.
Diba? So I am confident in my skill. I know I can get there. Pero I think dumating ako dun sa point na siguro I was relying on other people too much to be like, oh, bigyan mo naman ako ng gig, bigyan mo naman ng trabaho.
Yeah.
Parang na-prove ko naman sa'yo na magaling ako, di ba? Pero I think ngayon, kailangan ako na talaga yung kusang mag-seek out ng mga opportunities na, hey, I'm gonna
Correct.
reach out to this producer and I'm gonna record my stuff. Kasi I need to do something na with that. So, kumbaga, yung bubble na yon, sabi ko, kailangan ko lumabas doon. So, I'm starting to even go to like events na more on Phil-Am artists.
Yeah.
Diba? Even that, that's a step away. I went to a Filipino-American event.
What is this?
It was like a Live Nation event. I got invited by a friend of mine who is Filipino, but I was born and raised here.
Sino?
Jason Burse, I don't know if you know who he is.
Familiar.
He plays saxophone. He sings as well. So he's been a great supporter. And he always thinks of me. He always texts me, hey, this Filipino event, do you want to come? And before, parang sabi ko, ayoko. Kasi parang I'm in LA, parang
Right.
I don't want to keep doing this Filipino stuff, Pero he invited me to this event. Sabi niya, hey, I want you to come to this Live Nation event. So sabi ko, oh sige, that's fine kasi sabi ko networking yun eh.
Yes.
Kahit na it doesn't pay, di ba? Live Nation, that's a good contact to have.
Oo naman.
Tapos, Phil-Am daw, Phil-Am. So sabi ko, sige, Phil-Am. Wala akong masyadong kilala sa Phil-Am scene eh. Puro Filipino lang talaga yung
Right.
scene. So when I showed up, bro, ibang-iba yung mundo nila.
Yes.
It's a completely different world.
Yeah, I agree.
And after just being in that space for like 4 hours, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like, there's all these creatives. I met songwriters. I met artists.
At saka doon ang labanan, collab.
Yes. And yun yung gusto kong gawin.
Yeah, collab doon.
Yeah. And I feel like minsan sa Filipino music scene,
Tribal.
parang agawan. Parang ganon.
Kasi nga tribal di ba? Kung tayo lang ang click, tayo lang. Lahat yun outside.
Yeah. So yun yung napapansin ko minsan is, it's always the same people. It's always the same people. So even for me, I sing at Jerry's Grill.
Yeah.
I have so many, Filipino musician friends, and I love all of them. And I love playing with all of them. Pero since ngayon sa Jerry's, I'm usually tasked to form my own band. Every time I'm scheduled at Jerry's, I am tasked to form my own band.
This is Jerry's Grill sa Artesia.
Artesia.
Yeah. Okay.
I try to really to call other people. Na hindi yung the same people na laging tinatawag ng lahat. Kasi it's Jerry's Grill, it's a Filipino restaurant, but I know a lot of other people that's not in that scene. Diba? So even then, the reason why I don't even really have like a solid band is because it depends on the kind of night I want to have at Jerry's.
And freedom yun on your part.
It's freedom
also.
on my part, and it that also feeds my creative soul. Is hey, I want to do like a strictly 90s hip hop R&B night. Strictly as in tipong yung kanta na 2000 na release yan, di ko lalagay sa setlist ko yan. Kahit na if it's a song I really like, diba?
Yes.
Pero I'm not gonna add it there. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna call this person, this person, this person, this person. Because I know that they're gonna do a really good job.
Correct.
Not to say that the other people are not gonna do a good job, but I just feel like that group is gonna do it's gonna be really fun.
And yan yung pagiging artist mo na lumalabas.
Yes, exactly. So it's not just yun, and I think you're right. It's my yung okay, I want to do a lot of these new songs na I've never done before, na hindi lang yung basta-bastang call out na lang na typical Sarah stuff that she does, diba? R&B, ganyan. And honestly, when I think of people to text or to call, I also think about, is this person gonna take the time to learn these songs? And I'm not saying na it's a big ask.
Eh baka naman 1 week before mo tawagan.
Hindi naman. Diba? I always give them a heads up.
Okay.
And so I don't expect them to learn 10, 12 songs because we don't get paid a ton. Diba?
Yeah.
It's a typical restaurant gig. Pero there are people na I'm like, they're gonna learn it, they're gonna listen to it. But also it's not just that. It's not just the effort of learning. It's also like, this guy can listen to the song twice.
And then, ando na.
And he can do it.
Yeah.
So he'll be fine. You know what I mean? So yun din yung iniisip ko when I'm calling people. I'm like, okay, can I sing a couple of new stuff? Are they gonna be okay with it? Can they handle it? And will they do it for the amount that they're getting paid? And honestly, if it's like, okay, I just kind of want to chill and do the same stuff, then it's like, okay, I can call these people because they already know my stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So nandun yung collaboration.
Ang galing eh, because I was talking to a common friend of ours, and
Kapit lang ako.
go ahead, feel comfortable. And then ang nakakatuwa sa kanya, sabi ko, yeah, I'm having Sarah on the podcast. Sabi niya, oh my God, si Sarah, I admire her. Kasi sabi ko, sige, what about Sarah do you admire? Sabi niya, she's not just a singer. She's a leader. She leads her band. Because may mga ibang singers tumitingin sa musical director.
Yeah.
Si Sarah will tell you where to go without even telling you where to go sometimes. Yun ang observation itong musician na to. Mamaya ko na siya babanggitin off the air. Ayaw niya magpabanggit eh. But yun ang sinabi niya. And sabi ko, you know what, you're right. Because hindi naman naka-jam ko si Sarah. And nung tinutugtog natin yung Tadhana, I did not know that song.
Oh.
As in, I was just relying on you that whole time.
Talaga?
Hindi ko alam yung kanta.
How do you not know Tadhana by Up Dharma Down?
Maybe, baka dumaan sa akin. Of course,
yeah.
Narinig ko siya. It's a nice song, but
Right,
I never sat down to listen to play. Parang,
Right. Yeah.
So, I was really looking at OTEP of South Border just to give me, ano bang balor nitong kanta na to?
Right. Yeah.
Para lang alam ko lang kung nasan tayo. And
Yeah.
then, okay.
It's actually funny kasi yung song na yan, when I first did it, I did it with guys that are not Filipino.
Okay.
Yung parang dating house band ng Jerry's. May house band yan na pag Saturdays laging pinuput together.
Yeah.
None of them are Filipino.
Mike Agorilla days pa to ha?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think it could have been Mike playing drums, but it could have also been somebody else.
Right.
Pero most of them were not Filipino. Pero they just know the song kasi other people have done it before.
Okay.
So nung na-realize ko, alam pala nila yung Tadhana. So sabi ko, sige, I'll do the song. Tapos we did the song. The vibe was whatever vibe it was, right? Tapos, after maybe a year of doing that song all the time, pinakinggan ko yung Tadhana on Spotify. Sabi ko, yung vibe pala ng Tadhana, yung original na vibe, medyo mahina, na parang chillax.
Yeah, hindi
yung vibe namin medyo rock.
Bap. Di ba?
Yung vibe namin medyo rock.
Yeah.
But I've always just done it that way. So sabi, it sounds cool. Diba? So parang I've never really actually done it the way that it was originally done.
That's why when I sat down with you, when you were giving me cues, I go, okay. Kahit ako Kasi kung titignan mo ako, magtitinginan lang tayong dalawa dahil wala ka makukuha sa akin. I was actually waiting for you to tell me where to go.
Okay, good.
Di ba?
Yeah.
So, may mga ganun part. And yun yung sinabi niya about you. Na she's not just a singer. She'll give you breadcrumbs. And kulang na lang sabihin niya. And kung hindi mo madampot yung breadcrumbs, baka isubo pa niya sa bibig mo yung buong tinapay para lang makuha mo.
Yeah.
But on your part, hindi ba stressful? Imbes na kakanta ka na lang, yung reticular mo at yung spider sense mo, pinakikinggan mo sila isa-isa sa likod because yun ang feeling kong ginagawa mo
Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So it's not that I'm not a guitar player, I'm not a bass player, I'm not a drum, I don't play those instruments. I mean, I play a little bit of guitar, but I'm not a bassist, I'm not a drummer, but I'm familiar with how the instruments work. I studied music in college, right? My brother's a drummer. I grew up in a musical family. So I'm very knowledgeable of rhythm, things like that. So although I'm not going to tell a guitar player na, I want you to play this way, I am listening to what they're doing. So if you see me gigging at Jerry's or wherever, you might often see me, la la la, I'm singing, I'm in the zone, bigla akong titingin sa likod.
Oo nga.
Kasi may ginawa yung bahista that I really love. I hear it and I'm like, oh man, that sounded
So parang validation
awesome.
yun. Okay. Paano pag hindi mo nagustuhan? Tumitingin ka rin
titingin
sa likod.
din ako. Wala, parang magaganon lang. No, but I've never, I don't think I've ever really come across a situation where I didn't like something that a band member was playing. Especially at Jerry's because I'm the one who's reaching out to these people, calling them and making sure na,
right.
I'm not gonna call anybody, right? So
Spotify. When am I gonna hear more original songs?
soon. You'll hear it soon.
Okay. How soon is soon?
Well, I'm in the process of working with a producer right now.
How's that going?
We've met a couple times. Right now, so ito yung gusto ko talagang gawin sana. So
Okay.
you did a podcast with my brother when he was here.
Yes.
I've never done a gig with my brother ever. The only thing I've ever done with my bro is we've used to play in church together growing up, and it's always
Pero
been
secular
my dream.
wala pa.
Wala, never. Kasi I was 17 when I moved here.
Oh.
I wasn't in the gigging scene in Manila. I was just in the church scene. I moved here, and then when I moved here, I started gigging here na in LA.
Okay.
And my brother lives in the Philippines, so we've never done a secular gig together. And I've always wanted to do one. And when he was here, unfortunately, we couldn't find a gig na for us to do while he was here. He was here for a long time. Pero when I was talking to this producer, sabi ko, hey, my brother's gonna be here in October. I would really love to have him on my record.
Of
That would be
course.
so cool.
Yes.
Sabi niya, sige, let's plan it out. And fortunately, it just didn't work, timing and money and all that stuff. So I talked to him. Sabi ko, hey, my brother's going back home. Sabi ko, I still want to record the song. And I don't want to have to wait around kasi I feel like I've been waiting around for years. I've just been holding myself back.
Yes.
So sabi ko, I really want to finally just take control and just do it. Sabi ko, but at the same time, I don't want to rush myself to try to get this done by the end of the year.
Correct.
Kasi I had trips going on. I'm going home to Manila in December. So sabi ko, why don't we talk about timeline? Let's lay the groundwork, and then when I come back from my trip in January, let's start the ball rolling. My brother, he might come back in a few months. I might have other songs, so we might be able to do other projects. Pero sabi ko, I really want to just get it started. So hopefully, in January we start the process, and then hopefully it just keeps going from there.
This is exciting kasi sayang eh. I mean, time is an element that's not on our side eh,
Yeah.
diba? So habang pwede gawin.
Yeah.
Tapos itong gagawin mo, is it all in English, English Tagalog?
I mostly write songs in English.
Anong genre?
I would say it's like pop. Pero it has
Tell me your pop.
It
What
has
is
the
your pop?
90s.
Oh,
Are you
ooh.
familiar with Tory Kelly?
Of course.
So Tory Kelly's current discography is very throwback. May pagka 90s pop na yung mga ginagawa niya ngayon eh. Pero may singer-songwriter feel pa rin siya. She writes really good lyrics,
Yeah.
words. Hindi yung parang paulit-ulit lang na, oh yeah, ganon, di ba? So, pero Tory Kelly, I consider her to be R&B eh.
Right.
Pero may parang 90s pop siya na feel. I also like her a lot kasi she writes really good music, pero you can tell she is a musician. She's not just like, oh, I'm just gonna sit down and write
Diba yun
words
or,
and sing.
Or even, may producer na may manufactured song na, ito kantahin mo Tory Kelly.
Exactly, ganon. So you could really tell because she plays guitar, she plays instruments. She's a producer herself. She produces. So even when I watch her shows, that's talagang it's her eh. Tapos nakikita ko yung collaboration aspect. And ito na naman yung topic na pinag-usapan natin kanina is yung artist tsaka yung collaboration aspect. When I produce my tunes and when I get into this recording process in the next couple months, I told my producer, I was like, I want this to be a collaborative effort.
There you go.
I don't want to be dictating people na gusto ko ito gawin mo. Ito, ganyan. Na naka-plan lahat. Pero gusto ko, pag-usapan natin. Ikaw yung bahista, what do you think sounds good here?
Pero dapat ikaw may files eh.
Oo. So, ako yung, hey guys, I want it to sound this way. Diba? Ito yung nasa utak ko. Unfortunately, I'm not a drummer. I'm not a bassist. So, I need your help
Yes.
to bring my vision to life. Pero vision ko yan. So, gusto ko, let's work together. So, that's why I want live instruments. And of course, you can add the synths and all
Of
that stuff
course.
on top of it. Pero I don't want it to be too digitally manufactured. Kasi kinilakayan ko talaga live music eh. So, I want that element there. And, that's why I was like, oh, my brother can be big part of this because my brother is a really good live player, but he's
Yes.
also a really good recording. Kasi magkaiba yan eh, di ba? You can't just,
I
bakit
agree.
magaling ka mag-drums or whatever. Hindi laging ibig sabihin nun na magaling kang mag-session.
Kasi may mga ibang nuances yan eh.
Correct. And knowing how to, yung mga mic level,
Yeah.
how hard to play and stuff like that, dynamics and things like that. So,
Kita mo, pag habang nagkikwento, iniisip ko, kahit sa live, yan ang impression na nakukuha ng tao sa'yo. Na nagpo-produce ka, para kang conductor.
that's great because that's what I like. I don't like just standing there and just parang going with the flow na parang okay kakanta. Tsaka ako for me, ito din kasi I think there's a lot of negative connotations din kasi minsan with singers eh na
Yeah.
parang batong singer na to hindi naman alam yung diba parang you don't even know the body of the song. Parang nakikinig ka ba? Parang do you know where the song's going? Parang tas biglang nasa bridge na yung banda. Yung singer parang alam lang niya yung MP3 eh.
Yup.
So parang, biglang they get lost. Diba? Kasi alam nang nila is I listen to the MP3, I sing it back exactly the way it's on the record. So if the band wants to do something different or, diba, parang if they don't know the song that well, kailangan makapag-adjust ka on the spot.
Hindi mo ba naisip, akala mo normal yon pero ang difference is, immersed ka kasi sa praise and worship. And sa praise and worship, anything goes eh.
Oh yeah.
Minsan, pupunta ng bridge, ulitin mo yung chorus. Okay, magbi-bridge ulit. Pre-chorus. Akala mo magko-chorus. Pre-chorus ulit. Hanggang kailan natin gagawin yung pre-chorus? Hanggang sa sumabog. And then magko-chorus.
Exactly. So, that was my dad growing up, di ba? Prompter ako sa church, kumakanta ako sa likod. Yung daddy ko nasa harap, kumakanta. Nakatingin lang kami sa kamay niya kasi baka nakaganito siya.
Oo, yung hand signal eh.
Gaganon
No?
siya.
Oo.
Gaganon siya. Or gaganon siya. Anong sabihin nito?
Turn
diba?
around, oo.
Diba? Or,
isa pa.
Diba? So, tap, ganon. And I also, obviously, because of school, I also sing jazz. So, jazz, may ganon, may hand signals din.
Yes.
May, trade 4s, trade 8s, ganyan. Or from the top, head, ganyan. Whatever. So, yun ang nakasanayan ko is, you have a worship leader
Yes.
who is singing. They're a singer, but they're leading the band. You know, siguro, we would say, sige, you have a separate MD who is the one who's actually making sure na tama yung tinutugtog ng banda.
Actually,
Pero at the end of the day, yung worship leader yung nagdidikta.
lead. Ikaw ba nag-worship lead ka?
Yes.
There you go. Oh my God, now it makes perfect sense. Kasi since nag-worship lead ka, dito kasi pag nakakita ka ng banda, yung MD ang nag-lead ng banda,
Exactly.
di ba? Hindi pa pwede yun. Pag meron kang exposure and experience as a worship leader, you know na ang MD mo is basically your hitman.
Yeah.
Di ba?
Tsaka you have to work together.
Yeah.
So, hindi ako sanay na, because I've done worship here at other churches. I've had to like sub for other people, other worship leaders. Tapos pag makakuha ko ng text na parang, oh sige, so for Sunday, ito yung banda. Si so-and-so ang magiging MD nyo ha. So, kunyari si Paco. Paco will be your MD. Okay. Sige, Paco will be your MD. So, I show up to the service, di ba? Tapos itong si Paco, titingnan niya yung chord chart, di ba? Tapos yung chord chart, meron na yung nakalagay na verse, chorus, verse,
Three
chorus.
times.
Three times. Kasi, prepare na nung worship leader na the one that I'm subbing for. Yung Paco, okay guys, so we're just gonna do verse and then we're gonna do the chorus. So basically, binabasa lang niya yung nakalagay na doon. So ako naman, as the worship leader, it's so unnatural for me. Kasi when I'm in rehearsal, I feel like we should kind of go soft in this chorus and then build up to the next chorus.
Right.
And then maybe go back to the bridge. Yun ang nasa utak ko. Pero in my mind, I'm like, oh, but I'm not the director here. So I'm just gonna do what these guys say because they're the MDs. Pero hindi yun natural para sa akin. Kasi ang kasanayan ko is, guys, ito gagawin natin. Kasi the Spirit is telling me na,
yeah, as the Spirit leads, di ba?
Bumalik tayo dito eh. Or to me, that doesn't sound good. I think we should
And minsan sinabi mo na nga ganun, pagdating ng actual praise and worship, maiiba pa yan, depende sa conviction mo eh.
Yes.
Or depende sa bit sa nakikita mo yung congregation, talagang tinatamaan sila. Alam nga naman, aalis ka na ron.
Yes, exactly. So, dun ko natutunan yung skill ko talaga of adjusting in the moment and being really observant of what's going on. And yun din yung hinahanap ko when I play with people is, are they gonna observe me and my mannerisms and my body language? Because I'm pretty good at showing with my body language where I want something to go. I'll start stomping.
Oh, na-experience ko yan.
Diba? Kunyari, tadhana, diba?
Oh.
Kasi after nung yung parang instrumental part na yon, diba nilagyan namin ng solo yun eh. Guitar solo, diba? Rock na guitar solo. After nung guitar solo na yon, usually yung ginagawa na bababa kami, babalik kami sa soft chorus.
Naalala ko yan.
I-build up namin yon, tapos kakantahin na namin yung parang double chorus yata or something. So, if I am playing with somebody that's never played it that way with me before, I'm gonna try to be very big with my actions na bigla akong magsastomp or gaganito ako with my arm to let them know na, huy, magbe-build up tayo.
Huwag ka titingin sa baba. Tumitingnan mo, di ba?
Oo, so yun that's what I'm used to. So and I love it. It's I mean, and with the whole kanina yung sasabi kong parang negative connotation with singers na parang yun nga, usually parang ano lang sila, oh sige, I just show up. Di ba nga may ano pa nga, may funny mga memes pa nga na parang yung singer dahil hindi naman siya kailangan mag-tear down ng equipment. Pagkatapos ng gig, sige, alis na ako guys ha. Okay. Tapos kayo parang 30 minutes pa kayo nagbe-breakdown. I mean, even for me, I had to learn how to, wrap cables correctly.
Yes.
Stuff like that. So I help out if I can and things like that. So for me, yes, I'm a singer, but I am just as much a part of a band as everybody else. So I need to know my stuff.
And ang galing mo kasi ginagawa mo to by choice.
Yeah.
Diba? And yet, it's sad dahil in our small little community, nami-misinterpret tayo. Hindi lang ikaw, pati ako nami-misinterpret because feeling nila malakas yung dating ko pagdating sa ganyan. And to your point, hindi lakas na, okay fine, lakas ng dating. Only because we know what we want and we know how we want it executed.
Yeah.
Is that bad?
No, it's not bad at all. Yeah, we're artists.
There you go.
So it's it's like and yeah, I mean now that I'm talking about it more, now I realize okay, yeah, I'm a singer, but at the end of the day,
you're an artist.
I want to bring something to the table. So even like yung pagiging pag-curate ko ng, I want to do a 90s R&B night.
That's artist
me
move. Yeah.
being an artist.
Yes.
Kasi kung singer lang talaga ako, I would just have a list of songs na I'm gonna check. Which I do sometimes. But for the most part, I'm like, what kind of vibe do I want to bring to Jerry's this time? Or I haven't done this in a while. I want to do some new stuff. So let's do that. Hopefully the guys can learn.
Sa Jerry's ka lang ba tumutugtog gawin mga ibang lugar pa?
Regularly. So I play at, actually sa Jerry's, I don't play as regularly as I used to. I play at Banana Bay in Roland Heights.
That's a nice place.
I would say like once a month. Yun doon naman masaya kasi 2 singer yun. So, dun din naaano yung artist ko kasi ganun din. Pag dumating ako sa Banana Bay, I usually don't know who I'm singing with eh.
Seryoso yan?
Seryoso, yeah. I show up and I'm like, oh, cool, it's this guy, And the more you do that, the more you've been playing at Banana Bay, you just get to know the all of the people.
So, teka, sino bumubuo sa inyo?
It's either Kuya Mike Gonzaga
Okay.
or Ronnie Villanueva, the drummer.
Yeah.
Which is they're part of the Banana Bay house band. So sila yung nagbubuo. So I mean, I could ask them and be like, who am I singing with on Saturday? But it doesn't matter. It's like I'm gonna sing the songs that I'm gonna sing.
Yes.
So we go back and forth. Pero when I first started singing at Banana Bay, I didn't know all these people, right? So I would show up and be like, okay, hi, my name is Sarah. Nice to meet you. Tapos they'll usually go first, diba? So after like 2 songs of them singing, I can already feel the vibe. Okay, this is gonna be a lot of R&B tonight. So I will also adjust kind of my set list to go with the flow of that vibe. Kasi alam namang puro R&B yung kinakanta nung katabi ko. Tapos every other song na R&B, I'm over here like, let's sing Sarah Hironim. Diba?
Pero ito
diba?
tanong ko dyan. Bakit yung kasama mong singer ang nagdidictate ng vibe?
It's not naman na siya yung nagdidictate.
Or yung audience ang nagdidictate ng vibe?
I think yung audience naman kasi talaga sa Banana Bay, they're mostly ma-R&B talaga sila. Pero for me, it's like, if ako kasi yung magdidikta ng vibe, R&B lang talaga kakatahin ko. Because that's what's the easiest for me eh. Pero,
really?
Yeah. Pero I don't mind singing other stuff, di ba? So, pag kunyari, si Rain, yan. Pag si Ate Rain nakasama ko yan sa Banana Bay, alam ko na yung mga kanta na kakantahin yan. So in my mind, I'm like, sige, si Ate Rain nakakanta lahat ng mga matataas na kanta. Tapos ako na lang kakanta ng lahat ng mga panglalaki. Ganon. Pero wala, it's fun. For me, that's my way of kind of collaborating with them.
Right.
Na parang, okay, R&B vibes, that's cool. Let's go for it.
Sino hero mo na na artist, na singer?
Nakilala ko or anyone?
Na anyone. Na talagang pag narinig mo sa radyo or even pag wala kang ginagawa na isip mo na, if I could be half of what that person is, okay na ako. Parang gano'n.
Tory Kelly.
Tory Kelly talaga.
For sure, yeah. I started following her a long time ago, back when she was still, I wouldn't say American Idol days, pero YouTube days. And dun ko, even yung sa kanya, dun ako na-inspire to like practice my guitar playing.
Kaya alam mo kung kailan ko na-appreciate si Tory Kelly, I could be wrong, sa Sing.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Di ba?
Yeah.
Yun.
A lot of people don't even know that that's her singing that song. She was the elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and I've never even seen that movie.
Christian si Tory Kelly. Yeah.
She's really humble, and I have really good friends kasi that are very good friends with her.
Tinawag mong elephant si Tory.
So, siya yung elephant. So, I know na she's a very humble human being. So, parang for me, sabi ko sa sarili ko, sige, if I ever get to the level na I become somewhat popular, diba? I wanna be her. Like, I wanna be like as humble as her, na parang dami niyang achievements eh. Pero parang ang bait niyang tao, ang humble niyang tao.
Salbahe ka ba?
Pero she's a true artist. I mean, diba? Parang wala siyang parang wala siyang ego na, diba? So that's the kind of artist I wanna be. Especially getting to that level, if I ever get to that level.
Sige, pag-usapan naman natin to. Sinabi mo na rin ganyan. Ano yung mga holdbacks mo?
For what?
To get to that level. Ba't sa tingin mo procrastination?
My love for financial stability. And I think for me, siguro part of it na rin is there's this feeling of, because I studied music in college, this is siguro parang imposter syndrome na rin, na you should know how things work. Parang you should know how production works. You should know XYZ. Pero when I really think about it, because I was not in that music business scene right out of college, parang feeling ko when I approach a producer or I approach somebody who is that I'm hoping to help me with my songwriting or with my ako yung parang, so like, how much does this usually cost? Like what needs to happen in this project? Ano yung mga steps na kailangan i-take?
Right.
And that takes a lot of humility.
Yeah.
Diba? Kasi you have to be humble and you have to be in the room with these people and be the one who's like, I don't know how things work. Can you help me? So that's a step I had to take. And when I was talking to that producer, I really had to be like, hey, I'm sorry if like my questions seem kind of stupid, but I really don't know how these things go. Because this is my first time really, getting into this project,
Yes.
like really putting time and energy into this project. So even the whole parang, can you break down for me the cost? Like, can you break down for me the timeline, how things work? Is mastering included? Is mixing included? Do I have to call my own musicians? Yung mga ganong, all the details. So I think it's stepping into the unknown. And that can be scary.
Very.
Pero I also have to remind myself na I've stepped into the unknown so many times in the past and I've come out okay,
Or, hindi kaya ka may hesitation. Ngayon ko lang na-realize.
Ito therapy na to
Oo. Is because pinoprotektahan mo. You only want the best for it because it's yours and it's no one else's but yours. Hindi katulad ng pagiging music therapist mo. It's you, but it's not yours.
Yeah.
Tama ba? May sense sabi ko.
No, may sense talaga. And I think you're right kasi for me, okay, so like for example, itong song na to that I want to put out, that I want to record. I've had this written for like almost 10 years, I would say.
Oh my God.
It's been a long time. Na even now, I'm like, in pa ba tong kanta na to? Kasi baka mamaya yung vibe nito sobrang old school na di ba? Pero when I say written, hindi siya tapos it's done. Like, I can perform it tomorrow.
Correct.
With a band. I could show a band and we can perform it. Pero in terms of recording it, I agree. I think I'm so protective of this baby of mine that I only want the best for it.
Yeah.
So yes, I'm gonna be willing to put in X amount of dollars to make sure that this process is the way that I really want it to go, versus just a random person coming up to me after a gig saying, "Hey, I'm a producer. If you wanna collab, like let's collab. I can help put stuff out for you." And I'm like, if I work with this producer, maybe I spend half the amount of money, but now it's out on Spotify and I'm not 100% satisfied with it. So I'm very meticulous with like, sige, I really want to make sure na if I'm gonna record this and put it on Spotify, it needs to be at the quality that I want it to be. And that requires a lot of money and time.
Yes, and wala naman masama ron.
Yeah.
But at least nandyan.
Yeah.
With regard
so
naman,
you read my mind.
I read your mind. With regard naman to with regard to performing, sinabi mo Banana Bay, Jerry's Grill, yung mga ibang mga resto bar na Filipino places, are you willing to do those places also? Like yung mga Noy Pits,
yeah, I mean,
Titos, mga ganyan.
Yeah, I think for me now, because of my busy schedule and life, right, I do have to prioritize what I put my time and energy into. So I have my job that pays my bills, and then I gig on the side. But the gigging, I also need that extra income. So I'm very choosy when it comes to gigs that I take, depending on how much it pays. And also, I don't do a lot of pay to play anymore. Like you have to, sell X amount of tickets.
Ginawa mo yun?
Back in the day, like college days. Kasi ngayon, parang hindi ko na kaya yun kasi I don't have the time or energy for that na. So parang kung ano na lang, kung may private gig ka for me or meron kang, Jerry's or Banana Bay, and yung Jerry's saka Banana Bay, I do it because I love it. I do it because, the food at Jerry's is obviously amazing.
Diba?
Banana Bay, the food is really good. So ano na yan, when I'm taking gigs, I'm also trying to think na, are the people that I'm gonna be playing with, am I gonna have fun playing with them? That's honestly my first question, diba? Second, okay, how much money am I gonna make? obviously I'm willing to be flexible. Pero if it's like $50, no, I'm sorry. Like, I'm not gonna dress up and put makeup on and
Ang hirap
spend
di ba?
3
Yeah.
hours of my Friday night for $50. That's my gas, at this
Yes.
point. Pero I consider those things. I don't just, say na, oh sige, fine, sige, I'll gig, ganyan. I'll usually will be like, sino kasama ko? Sinong tutugtog? Kasi if I'm just gonna suffer through this gig, trying to play with this dude over here, parang it might as well not do it. And I'm very lucky to be in that place now where I can say no to certain things because I have
Your financial
a stable
stability.
job. So, pero yun, now with, trying to venture out into writing and recording, I do have to be a little bit more loose in terms of like, okay, yeah, you are gonna have to spend some money and be willing to invest. It's an investment eh.
OCD ka ba?
Hindi naman sobra.
Hindi naman sobra. Wait,
Yung mami ko OCD.
really?
I am not as OCD as her. I like to call myself organized. But if you ask her, she'll tell you that my room's a mess, my car's a mess. Sabi niya, kababae mong tao, ang gulo-gulo ng kotse mo, dumi-dumi, ganyan. Pero I'm organized in certain ways.
Kumbaga, mahanap mo yung kailangan mo hanapin.
Oh yeah. Oo. Yeah.
Ilanding natin. If you were to go back to 17-year-old Sarah, to having a conversation with your dad, who actually gave you an advice, knowing what you know now, what would you whisper in her ear?
I think what I would whisper in her ear is, and it's hard kasi parang hindi mo na rin pwedeng balikan yun eh, di ba? Obviously, you can't go back to the past. Pero,
Then again, yung ibubulong mo, maririnig ng mga 17-year-old girls na nanonood.
yeah. I think for me, I'm very glad I listened to my dad's advice. Let's just leave that out there. Very glad I listened to his advice. Pero I would tell myself, don't just take that advice and just go with it. Tas hindi ka na mag-research. Mag-research ka, you still have to do your part. Kasi I think for me, if I had pursued music business, or sige, let's say, music education, di ba? Kasi nakinig ako eh. Sabi lang niya music education. Mag-teacher daw ako. O sige, mag-teacher ako. Di ba? What I could have done was, I could have researched, okay, sige, how am I gonna be stable while still pursuing what I want? Ano ba talaga yung gusto kong gawin? Gusto kong maging performer. Di ba? How can I make that happen while still finding stability? So, okay, sure, Dad, music education is a good route. Are there any other routes, though? Diba? Kasi na-discover ko yung music business a year in na eh. But if I had done research prior, I could have done music business earlier, diba? And then moving on, music business, I became a music business major. And I told myself, sige, I'll just do that and then I'll perform on the side. Pero hindi ako nag-seek out ng mga jobs talaga in that realm.
So, like music industry sana, di ba?
Oo. Parang hindi ako nagkusa talaga na mag-seek out ng ganong types of jobs. So I ended up settling. I settled for whatever job was available because my dad was like, you just need a job. You just need work.
Furniture.
So sabi ko, sige, ito yung available, di ba? It's there. And I enjoyed it because it was the first, time I was able to make money for myself. I spent all my money going on trips.
Why
Kasi
not?
afford ko na, di ba? And then later on, that's when I started feeling like it was starting to slip away from me. So if I were to go back and tell myself that 17-year-old is to really, yun nga, you have to create the future that you want for yourself. You have to create it. So I'm 32 now, and I'm still having to tell myself that you have to create the future that you want for yourself. You can't wait around for other people.
Yes.
You can't sit around and wait for calls from people. Can you do this gig? Do you want to be a part of my project? If you want to do stuff, ikaw yung mag-create ng project. Ikaw yung mag-reach out sa mga tao. I mean, yeah, and there's opportunities out there for you. And you can't just parang, I don't know if I want to take this opportunity. No, you have to be like, okay, let's think logically. If I go to this event, why would I go to this event? Okay, because I can network with people. I could do this, I could do that. And then you go and you do it wholeheartedly. Kasi nga, you have to create the future that you want for yourself. So, and I think that's something that I'm, even now at my age, like I'm still young, right?
Yeah.
Pero because we're talking about me being 17 and me now being 32. So, it's one of those things na parang I'm still learning and I'm still telling myself na parang, dude, just do it. Parang just go, just write the song, just produce the song, just do it. So yun, I think it's really a learning experience, I think, still to this day.
Are you doing it?
Yeah, I'm doing it.
Let's end it there. Ladies and gentlemen, Sarah Nolan.
Yeah.
Guys, support. Lalagay natin link ng social media niya para if she's not doing it, kukulitin natin siya. So yun gagawin
Kulitin niyo ako, guys. If I don't have anything out by, X amount, X
But you know
time.
what? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Paco, for having me.
First of many. Thank you, guys.